So, hello, welcome back. Milestones. You know, this going back to the original pressing and comparing it to a remaster, of course, in a way allows me to go back to titles. And every once in a while, I just will go back into some milestones, holy grails, iconic releases, masterpieces, call them whatever you like to call them. Of course, those are also every time also a personal thing. My milestone is for you maybe a totally silly recording and has no importance to you. So of course this is subjective, but in our hobby, what isn't subjective? So I started with my milestone recording of all time, in a way, personal milestone recording of all time. I want to go into Kraftwerk's Radioactivität or Radioactivity, and I compare it to the very recent remaster reissues they put out, and talk about this release and why it is such a milestone in my opinion, and why it is such a milestone to me. Came out in 1975. 10 years old Michael was a bit into music, but not an aficionado like today, of course. But I remember when this one came out. I remember it quite well. I listened to it with my mother and a friend of my mother's and her daughter, not at our place, but at their place, and we had incredible fun. Because we were little children, and to the sounds and noises, we made a hell of fun. Yeah, long ago. Yeah, and why is this so important in my opinion? This is the first Kraftwerk album that is only done with electronic instruments. You know, for example, the big one for the United States has been Autobahn. There you have this heavy krautrock element still, or the first Kraftwerk 1, 2, very much into this so-called krautrock. Here on this album, you only have very little elements, if at all. Very little elements of krautrock. It's complete electronic, and I think it's safe to say that we have a concept album. It's all about radioactivity and radioactivity due to this upcoming nuclear technology, radio waves, short waves, long waves. And the whole music, every song is around that topic. So I think it's okay to talk about a concept album. This was also the first album where Karl Bartos joined the group. It has been done in the Düsseldorfer Klingklang studios. I've been there. I've seen that, although there is no studio anymore, but the location is still there. And it was a huge success. This album was a huge success in France and in Japan. I think from the single they have done on this album, Radioactivity, I think in France they've sold 400-something thousand copies, so quite much. In Japan it was quite big in Japan, and yeah, here in Germany, yeah, they got some attention, but not that big. And what for me makes this one of the most important albums of all time is that Kraftwerk managed to pull this electronic avant-garde music into pop culture. Of course, there has been early electronic artists way before Kraftwerk, but in my opinion, I think that they have been the first who gave it a pop attitude and showed the people that integrating this kind of electronic synthesizer stuff can be implemented into pop culture. And imagine the times. They can't go into a shop and say, oh, I want to buy this, and then I buy this. They built those synthesizers and advices they use to make this music quite often by themselves. So before they can go and make music, they have to build the instrument. Imagine that. And they did that. They must have been so nerdy in a positive sense of the word. And this is, of course, incredible. And of course, disagree with me, but I say without this album, without Radioactivität from Kraftwerk, no synth-pop, early hip-hop, avant-garde electronic, yes, due to the early electronic people, yes, but what you can hear on this album is in a way the quintessence of the next upcoming 30-40 years, in a way. Of course, it's little bit fast stretch when I say without this album no synth-pop. That's too harsh in a way, of course, but this is the basis. This is the basis for so many musical parts, hip-hop, synth-pop. Incredible. This is why I think this is such a iconic, fantastic, and incredible, important album. Yes. That being said, now let's talk about the one that you can get nowadays. I have two versions of it. Radioactivität, German, and Radioactivity. You know, when they did these great remaster reissues, they put out an English version and a German version. Although in this case, it's no need, because this is a bilingual record and it kept this way. The only difference is the title, Radioactivity and Radioactivität. So doesn't matter which version you take. But of course I love to show you, because they did a great job, the color of the vinyl. They did really a great job with this greenish yellow Radioactivity. Great job with the color vinyl. And as I said briefly now, this remasters, they do sound good. They did a good job. They did. No doubt about that, because to get these in a good quality, that's not so easy. You need luck. You need an incredible amount of time cleaning the record. But when that's done, and you manage to get a decent pressing, I'll show you the original inners. I think with the OG came two different inner sleeves. Not 100%, but these are the ones I have in my release. Show you the vinyl and the label. Yeah, and that's quite interesting. You might see the Herzu logo. And that's funny, because those Beatles aficionados told me, and I've learned from them, that some of the Herzu Beatles releases, for example, for the Magical Mystery Tour, are quite iconic, and they say those are by far the best versions of them. So here in the first pressing of Radioactivität from Kraftwerk, also Hör zu has its fingers, and yeah. Hör zu, it was a German television newspaper. While other people in 1975 listened to Vicky Leandros, Udo Jürgens, or Neil Diamond's Serenade, I think is 75, Hör zu had its singers in Kraftwerk's Radioactivity. Not bad. Okay, but now, how do those remasters stand up to the original German pressing? On a short notice, quite good. If we go a bit deeper, I'd have to say that the difference is huge between those. They have a totally different approach sound-wise. For example, this single synthesizer tones, they have a certain rougher layer or more layers, rougher layers on the original. The remasters are smoother and more they are smoother and have a certain softer touch to them. On the original, they are more layered, more structured. Of course, you have more punch on the original, but that by now is almost not worth mentioning anymore. I still not 100% sure if this is a general decision to today's taste or the freshness of the tape. But this is now so obvious that the punch and the roughness of the originals is much more out there. They are rougher, they have more punch, and also the same here with this synthesizer electronic music from Kraftwerk. The same here. I prefer the original, and I can imagine that people who are into this roughness, into this more punch, say, oh, only the original counts. The remasters are dull, I don't like them, but I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far that this is always so much better. It might also be a conscious decision by the mastering engineer, or in this case, as they are really quite careful with their releases, that the guys from Kraftwerk, who has still the saying about it, say, no, we want it this way and not in any other way nowadays. That also might be the case, but if you can get your hands on an original of this iconic release, I suggest go for it. One of the most important albums of all time. What's your opinion about Kraftwerk? You also think that they are unbelievably important, or you say no, they are one amongst many? Let's discuss that. I would love to do that. Okay, yeah, that's it for my holy grail, for my iconic masterpiece, Milestone. Okay, thank you for your time. See you on the next one. Bye.